Today in rock, Sinead O'Connor tries to explain her attack on the Pope. Extreme tries to explain its new album. Sade attempts a comeback, and we look back at a most entertaining vice presidential debate. Do stay tuned. Hi, I'm John Norris, sitting in for Kurt Loder once again, and this is the Day in Rock. Sinead O'Connor issued a statement on Tuesday to explain but not apologize for her controversial appearance on Saturday Night Live 2 weeks ago when she finished a rendition of the Bob Marley song War by ripping up a photo of Pope John Paul II. In her statement, which ends with the salutation, "God is truth," O'Connor says, quote, "To the people who have been offended by what I did, I respect you for standing up for what you believe in, and I want you to know that I am not your enemy. We've been given lies to believe in, and I'm trying to tell the truth." O'Connor goes on to suggest that people study the history of the Roman Catholic Church, which she accuses of using marriage, divorce, and especially birth control and abortion to, quote, "control us through our children and through fear." Well, nasty accusations were also flying thick and fast in Atlanta Tuesday night during the first, last, and only vice presidential debate. With a single moderator, the debate was a lively, freewheeling affair full of zinging one-liners. Most observers seem to have found Vice President Dan Quayle surprisingly well-prepared and aggressive, Democrat Al Gore as smart as expected, but also a bit wooden, and Ross Perot's man, Admiral James Stockdale, far less prepared, but like his boss, more refreshingly direct than the other two. Here now are some highlights.
Bill Clinton and I stand for change because we don't believe our nation can stand 4 more years of what we've had under George Bush and Dan Quayle.
The choice is yours. You need to have a president you can trust. Can you really trust Bill Clinton?
Who am I? Why am I here?
It is a bad economy. It's a tough economy. The question isn't it's not who you're going to blame. What are you going to do about it? Your proposal is to raise $150 billion in taxes.
Bill Clinton and I have a detailed 5-year budget plan to create good jobs, cut the budget deficit in half, and eliminate the investment deficit in order to get our economy moving forward again.
We're people of the non-professional category who are just sick of this terrible thing that's happened to the country, and we've got a man who knows how to fix it, and I'm working for him.
Bill Clinton and I support the right of a woman to choose.
My objective and the president's objective is to try to reduce abortions in this country.
I believe that a woman owns her body, and what she does with it is her own business, period.
The vast majority of the world's scientists, and they have worked on this extensively, believe that we must have an effort to face up to the problems we face with the environment.
In the book, you also suggest taxes on gasoline, taxes on utilities, taxes on carbon, taxes on timber. There's a whole host of taxes, and I don't believe raising taxes is the way to solve our environmental problems.
Quayle may have impressed many by speaking coherently and reeling off all sorts of numbers to criticize Gore, but Wednesday morning the media began pointing out that in fact many of Quayle's most substantive-sounding attacks on Gore were wrong. For instance, CNN claimed that Quayle's criticisms of the Clinton-Gore tax plan and the projected cost of Gore's plans to clean up the environment were based on mistaken or misrepresented figures. Gore was also chided for misstating the wage scale in Clinton's home state of Arkansas. Gore will, by the way, appear in MTV's Choose or Lose Vice Presidential Forum next Wednesday at 10 p.m. East and West, and a second presidential debate takes place Thursday night at 9 p.m. in Richmond, Virginia. Meanwhile, in an election year where the coverage of politics has gotten as much attention as the politicians themselves, one of the most unusual camera crews following the campaign is the one headed up by young actor Robert Downey Jr. Along with fellow actor Donovan Leitch and Josh Richmond, who's been involved with some Guns N' Roses videos, they're shooting a documentary-style movie on the campaign called The Last Party. We ran into Downey and company at both the Democratic and Republican conventions, and right now we have a preview of their film in which Downey investigates racism in America.
Racism is interwoven into our fabric. I mean, you're talking about America, you're talking about baseball, apple pie, and racism.
You know that in middle America, Americans seem to be afraid of guys like you. You know what I mean?
See, they're afraid of what they don't know about. See, that's the thing about this country. What they don't know about, they either try to take it over or kill it.
Getting paid, getting rich.
What do you want from Governor Clinton?
I want Clinton to address the issues. If he wants to be the president, he should be the president of all the people and address all the pain. Police brutality, criminal justice, racial violence, infant mortality. I don't want him to throw out an economic plan and act like that we don't have criminal justice problems.
Mr. Bush cares nothing about black people. He's a Republican man that doesn't even know the nature and the cries of black America. People like Jesse Jackson and others have got to stop asking Congress to predicate policy because we're black. I mean, it was Dr. King who says, hey, don't judge us because we're black, judge us because of our content of character. And now we've got black politicians out there trying to say, yeah, give us some legislation because we're black. Oh, hogwash, it's a bunch of junk.
Most of the times, racism is tied into economics.
Jobs are hard to get in these cities. Do you know 300,000 people that's not working today? Did you know that?
You ain't gonna tell me you got the technology, put that man on the moon and bring him back, then tell me that you can't get, that I can't have no job. I can't have a place to stay.
Racism is really gonna stop here in this country. The burden is on white America.
America has changed from being the land of the American dream to the land of the American nightmare. This isn't a country based on freedom, it's based on slavery.
The book that won the Civil War was Uncle Tom's Cabin, because it wasn't a treatise about the evils of slavery. It made everyone feel what it was like to be a slave. And that's the only way that this issue is going to become real enough for the American people to deal with, once it becomes real enough for them.
Put it this way, guarantee if I walk down the street with this beer in my hand by myself, bothering nobody, I guarantee at least 1 or 2 cops out of a posse, at least 10, will at least come up to me, be like, how you doing? Boom, throw me on the wall, knock the 40 ounce out of my hand, and proceed to search me for no apparent reason.
They're saying as a blanket statement, all you guys are drug dealers, none of you guys are creative, none of you guys are doing anything to help the community. It seems like neither of you are willing to give much on each other. What kind of America would you like to see your daughter grow up in?
A unified one, where everybody's together, so she won't really experience, racism or nothing like that. Because, she's mixed herself. I met her mother. I really see, a different color, just, some girl I really care for.
Say, for instance, there's life on Mars, you know what I mean? And then they come in to move on planet Earth. They're not going to kill the white people. They're not going to kill the black people. They're going to kill Earthlings, you know what I'm saying? Human beings, you know what I'm saying? So we should come together now before something like that do take place.
Robert Downey and company hope to finish The Last Party in time to open the film theatrically around the presidential inauguration in January. We'll make way for our sponsors right now, but we'll be right back with a world report on the return of Sade, a visit with Extreme, and legal news on Axl Rose and Vince Neil. Don't go away. Welcome back to The Day in Rock and another of our weekly world reports. Today we go to London, where a comeback is being launched by Sade, the woman with the fashion model looks and the cool, smooth voice, who had a memorable debut with her 1984 album Diamond Life. Well, Sade reunited with the Diamond Life crew to record Love Deluxe, her first album in 4 years. Our colleagues at MTV Europe recently spoke with Sade about the first video, No Ordinary Love, in which the singer shows off her aquatic skills.
It wasn't a convenient love because he has legs and I had a tail, fish tail.
Gave you love. I gave you all that I have inside and you took my love.
I'm basically just preparing myself to go up to the earth and give up my tail, relinquish the sea world and find my man.
Somebody say that a love like that won't last. Didn't I give you all that I got to?
Sade's album Love Deluxe is due out in the U.S. November 3rd. Well, the Boston-based band Extreme is back on the scene with a new album titled 3 Sides to Every Story. As that title suggests, the album is divided into 3 sections, reflecting the band's musical diversity. We took a trip to Boston recently to visit the members of Extreme at home, in the studio, and even sneak with them into Beantown's hallowed baseball mecca, Fenway Park. Along the way, the band members told us about Extreme's ambitious new album. It's clearly our best work to date, and especially lyrically. I mean, I listen to it and I'm surprised he comes up with those 4-syllable words.
Along with more 4-syllable words, Extreme's new album, 3 Sides to Every Story, offers a 78-minute smorgasbord of musical diversity.
If you're in a certain mood, to just put on this mood. You know, if you just feel like, you know, listening to some rock and roll, you put on the first side, and it's, you know, relentless rock and roll.
Second side is more of the ballad and popular tunes.
The last side is the more, really the conceptual piece within itself.
The reason why we have a 3-sided record is due to the fact that we had too much material for 2 sides of a record and not quite enough for a double album. This is an E when you read Extreme, but then you turn it sideways and it becomes 3 sides to the story.
Genius.
Extreme's last album, Pornograffiti, spawned 2 mega hits, More Than Words and Wholehearted, which may have initially given listeners the wrong impression of the band.
More Than Words was so big that it's like, geez, they must be the Everly Brothers, you know, the 90s version of that. And it's too bad. You know, the people that buy the record, Extreme Records, know what Extreme is.
More than words is all you have to do to make it real.
After the release of More Than Words, we figured there'd be some shock factor if we released another hard rock track right off the bat, so we decided you know, to kind of bridge the gap between More Than Words and our other stuff. Wholehearted seemed to fit in perfectly.
There's a hole in my heart that can only be filled by you.
We are here because this was a good excuse to come and see the Fenway Park when no one was in here. I'm a big Red Sox fan, and I've always been a baseball fan. I think if I wasn't a musician, I think I'd probably want to be doing this, but I doubt I'd be good enough. Maybe I'll just quit playing bass and join the Red Sox. Hope they don't see this segment.
Extreme launches a European tour next month and will tour the U.S. starting in January. Meantime, ex-Motley Crue frontman Vince Neil got into a scuffle with security guards at a Bryan Adams show in Los Angeles on Sunday night. Vince placed the guards under citizen's arrest. They did the same to him. The 2 parties will meet in Beverly Hills Court November 2nd. And finally, Axl Rose's court date in St. Louis, stemming from the July 1991 riot at a Guns N' Roses show there, has been pushed back from this week to November 9th. And that'll do it for this edition of The Day in Rock. We'll be back Thursday night with the warm and gentle comedy of Dennis Leary and the hottest band in Minneapolis, who have nothing to do with Prince. We hope to see you then.